don't have a number. I just want to recap.
Hundreds. There's hundreds of different
so where would
ways
you
the
put
data breaks.
Okay, so the data breaks down into very simple predominant categories, XX and XY. And that's no? Oh, so there's not male and female.
I mean, to a certain degree, but there are different ways that breaks down. When you actually get into sex and gender and X and Y chromosomes, it doesn't just break down in the way that there's many different ways.
And how would you categorize society then? Do you think men and women
Well,
are categorically
I would go by
different?
specific scientific criteria and then go off of what that study and that information actually says. You see, that information breaks down into much more difficult and complex things than you can just say in 5 seconds with 2 different genders. I think what happens is you don't understand science and scientific backing.
Okay. So
and you just want to
put
forth this fascist simple.
Oh, fascist simple. Here we go. That's.
Now it's fascist. If you do not adopt my left-wing ideology, not only are you anti-science, but you are now fascist. This is just very, very shocking arguments coming from this lady. I also wanted to add one more quick thing. When it comes to adding science to the argument, when I have talked to people in the street, they bring up that same thing. And I'm sure you guys have seen the right-wing memes basically saying, the party of science, saying that men can breastfeed, making fun of them because they've adopted this sort of radical left religion and completely have rejected the actual, scientific evidence and all that stuff, especially when it comes to biology and trans women in sports and all this stuff, right? I don't need to explain that to you guys. But the right wing has these memes, right? The party of science believes that men can chest feed. And then when it comes to these activists, they don't see that they're just completely rejecting science. They don't see that, and they still grab on to science is their backing for their belief. It's pretty amazing. I mean, if you actually had activists that were self-aware, they would say, oh, this is kind of a little bit more of an ideology that we're adopting here. But okay, I guess we're just gonna say it's science, and that will win the argument. That's essentially what's happening right here, which is really funny. The irony is completely lost on them. Science has nothing to do with this, but they truly believe that science is still on their side. Let's jump back into why Charlie Kirk is a fascist.
So what is fascist about saying there's 2 genders?
Is you're just being completely not faithful to what actual science is telling you.
No, science is quite simple.
That there's an oppressive narrative.
Oh,
science is very simple.
So now I'm oppressive. How am I being oppressive? The truth comes out eventually. So how am I being oppressive?
Yeah, you're being oppressive.
How am I being oppressive?
You're being oppressive by denying people the ability to have.
How have I denied anyone anything? Okay, denying people identity. People can identify however they want. I'm only going to use 2 genders. That's the way that.
Eventually, you're the problem, and you're going to get pushed out of the way.
She says right there, you're the problem, and you're going to get pushed out of the way. Yeah, it's a cult, you guys. It's wild watching these exchanges on college campuses. This is why I love the comparisons of college versus street, just to show people that maybe didn't go the college route having this conversation, because they're aware of the truth. They're aware of the science. They're aware of the facts. And maybe a lot of them haven't been quite as indoctrinated as this young lady here. That's why those videos are so powerful. It just shows the insane difference between individuals that are completely indoctrinated and individuals that are completely out of that indoctrination bubble.